My grandfather was part of a classified mission in 1991. The government paid him to never speak about it. Last week, the payment stopped. My grandfather, Raymond, died 3 days ago. The official cause was heart failure, which made sense given he was 81 and had been chain-smoking unfiltered cigarettes since before I was born. What didn't make sense was the timing, or the phone call I got from his bank 2 hours before he died, asking why the automatic deposits that had been coming in monthly for 32 years had suddenly stopped. I didn't even know about any deposits. Raymond had worked as a plumber his whole life, retired at 65 with a modest pension, lived in the same small house in Ohio. There was no reason for mysterious payments, and definitely no reason for them to stop right before he died. I drove to his house the day after he passed to start going through his things. The place smelled like stale tobacco and old coffee, exactly how I remembered it. Everything looked the same, but there was something different about the air itself, like the house knew its owner was gone. I started in his bedroom, going through drawers full of old clothes and papers, tax returns, utility bills, nothing interesting. Then I found a metal lockbox shoved way back in his closet, buried under winter coats. It was heavy, secured with a combination lock that looked military grade. I tried his birthday, my grandmother's birthday, every date I could think of. Nothing worked. I was about to give up when I noticed a piece of masking tape on the bottom with 4 numbers, 1991. My hands were shaking as I spun the dial. The lock clicked open. Inside were things that made no sense for a retired plumber to own. Documents with heavy black redactions, photographs of Raymond in military gear I'd never seen him wear, standing in a desert with mountains in the background, a laminated ID card with his photo and the words Defense Intelligence Agency printed across the top, and a letter dated January 15th, 1991, thanking Raymond for his service and confirming the terms of his compensation agreement. The letter mentioned a mission designated as Operation Sandglass and stated that in exchange for Raymond's participation and silence, he would receive monthly payments of $3,000 for the rest of his natural life. The payments would cease immediately upon his death or if he violated the non-disclosure agreement. Violation would result in criminal prosecution under the Espionage Act. I read the letter 3 times. My grandfather had been a plumber. He'd fixed sinks, told bad jokes, watched baseball games. He'd never been in the military as far as I knew. But here was proof that his entire life had been built on a carefully constructed cover story that everyone had believed for over 3 decades. I spread everything out on his bed and took photos with my phone, some instinct telling me I needed to document this. There were more pictures showing Raymond with other men in similar gear. One photo showed what looked like an enormous hole in the ground, perfectly circular, with Raymond and 2 others standing at the edge, staring down into it. The back had a date, March 3rd, 1991. Another showed the interior of what appeared to be a cave or tunnel. The walls smooth and almost metallic looking. In that one, Raymond was pointing at something on the wall. The documents were frustrating because so much had been redacted. I could make out fragments like unidentified structure, anomalous readings, containment failure, and civilian casualties prevented. One page was almost entirely blacked out, except for a single sentence. All personnel are reminded that disclosure of any information regarding Site J will result in immediate and permanent consequences. I was so focused on the papers that I didn't hear my mother come in. She called my name from downstairs and I nearly jumped, scrambling to shove everything back into the lockbox. She was climbing the stairs, asking if I'd found anything interesting. I met her in the hallway and told her I was just going through old clothes. She looked tired, her eyes red from crying, and guilt washed over me for hiding this, but something told me she shouldn't see what I'd found. Not yet. She said she was going to start on the kitchen, and I suggested she tackle the garage instead. She agreed and headed downstairs. I locked the bedroom door and returned to the box. There was one more item, a small notebook with a cracked leather cover. I opened it carefully and found what appeared to be a journal in Raymond's handwriting. The first entry was dated February 20th, 1991. They told us it would be routine reconnaissance, in and out in 72 hours. They didn't tell us what we'd be looking for until we were on the ground in Iraq, 50 miles west of Baghdad. We were supposed to investigate an anomaly that satellite imagery had picked up, a structure that shouldn't exist, appearing overnight in empty desert. They assembled a small team, 6 of us. I was brought in because of my engineering background. The others were intelligence analysts, a linguist, a geologist, and a medic. The entry continued for several pages, then ended abruptly mid-sentence. The next entry was dated March 1st, 1991, 9 days later. I don't know how to describe what we found. The structure was rising out of the sand like a monument, but it wasn't built. It looked grown or formed. Perfectly smooth black material that none of us could identify. No seams, no joints, just this seamless obsidian tower about 40 feet tall, standing alone in the desert. We approached it carefully, but there was nothing. Just the tower and this strange humming sound that seemed to come from everywhere. Collins took samples, but his drill bits couldn't make a dent. That's when Porter found the entrance, and what they discovered inside explained why the government had been paying my grandfather to stay silent. The full story is linked below or on my channel.